All right, cool. I think I got everything rolling here on the different my different platforms. Okay, so what's going on today, huh? There's it's like every day is crazier and weirder than the last one was. So it's always something, isn't it? And what is it right now? The Supreme Court. The Supreme Court did a ruling on the wedding cake. The gay couple that the wedding cake baker wouldn't make the cake for, and that thing finally made it through the Supreme Court. And today they ruled on it. And the thing is, technically they ruled in favor of the baker, the wedding cake maker that didn't want to do it. But that's not what they decided on. That's not what it was really about. It was a very narrow. You might hear people saying it's not a narrow margin. It was 7-2, and yes, there were seven of the 7 court judges who said yes and 2 said no. So that's a wide margin, but it's not a wide difference or the policy itself. It's a very narrow policy as opposed to a narrow margin, right? So the margin is the 7-2 part, and the rest is the rest. So what it was is the Supreme Court found that the lower, I want to say court, but it was, I believe, a commission, the lower authority had treated the case disproportionately against the baker. And basically, it was a case about the lower court or commission ruling. And so the ruling was considered hostile. There were some words they used in the decision. They used the word hostile and offensive, words like that were when they were considering the case. And the court didn't like that. The Supreme Court didn't like that. And really what it boils down to is that because this one baker at this one time and because of this one situation, this is what's going to happen. And what it is they said that the guy doesn't have to make a special cake for this couple. A couple can walk in and buy the cake off the floor, buy any cake off the floor, no matter what their destination is. And that, and that's not hindered. And that's not what the baker had denied them. They wanted a special white and yellow cake made a certain way, and the artist who customizes the cakes didn't want to didn't want to do art for something he didn't believe in. And it's kind of anyways, that's what they voted on, and it wasn't really about that part of it anyways. It was about the part that they're giving the lower court some hassle. That the lower court should have handled it with, they should have handled both sides the same, and they said that they didn't. They kind of laughed at the guy's religion side. So the other thing that happened, though, in this ruling, which is kind of cool, is that they also reiterated in writing in this decision that gay rights are the same as everybody's rights, all the way around. So gay rights for this couple is the same as Ted Cruz's rights. It doesn't matter. Everybody gets the same rights. So that's what it said, and that's why it's kind of a win if you want to take it that way, because of that portion of it. It's not a big winding thing. If you hear anybody saying, "Oh my God, the Supreme Court voted against people's rights," well, that's not what this was about today. And I can see I got a big knee-jerk reaction. I had to go in. Hi from India. I had to go in and look it up and look at the ruling. And it was, court. I don't know if you tried to read court papers before, but they kind of suck to read. I read, and then I got on and I contacted a couple of, high-profile legal people through social media. And I learned pretty quickly what it was going on. And so it really, really was a lot narrower than that. And my knee-jerk reaction was, great, now who's going to stop selling to evangelists, or Nazis or something. So the Supreme Court ruled in the favor of the artist for not wanting to do art that he didn't like, but the store still needs to sell things that are off the shelf, and the owners apparently didn't have a problem with this anyways. So they can buy anything off the shelf. They just didn't want to make the special yellow and white cake that this couple happened to want. So it's a little thing. And the biggest part of it, I think, is that they reconfirmed in writing in this decision, so it's now in Supreme Court law again, that gay rights are equal to everybody else's rights. That everybody has the same rights. And so if you hear people inflamed, if you see or hear people inflamed and like I was this morning saying, oh my God, I can't believe they did this. Don't worry. This is a little thing. It's actually, believe it or not, it's actually a positive thing for everybody's rights. Because that, they said, everybody has the same, the bottom line was everyone has the same rights. So, void of everything else, that's where we are. Now, the other thing that happened, was Trump basically saying that he has the power to pardon himself. Not basically saying, coming right out and saying. And this is built up for a few days only. Gosh, like on Thursday, the Trump people leaked out a 20-page memo that his lawyers had written to Mueller, the guy who's running the investigation. And basically, in 20 pages, it makes out a long, drawn-out case about how the president can do no wrong and is above the law, and so can't be subpoenaed, can't be indicted, can't be forced to do anything, and that he has the absolute right to start and stop any investigation that he wants to. So at any point in time, he can order, they say in this 20-page document, that at any point in time, the president can order people to do this, and it'll happen. What else? And just by do this, of course, I mean to start a case or to kill a case in a prosecution, and that's not right. Okay, I'm not going to go too far here. I've only got a few minutes. So he's not above the law. So they did this release of this memo on Thursday. Then on Friday, Rudy Giuliani got on the airwaves and started talking about. Well, sure, about how collusion wasn't illegal now, and that obstruction really, depends on who's talking because facts are different depending on your recollection. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. And then he threw out there yesterday, he said that Rudy Giuliani said that Trump could go out and shoot James Comey dead. And he, welcome, by the way, first day. He could go out and shoot. So Rudy Giuliani says Trump can go out and shoot Comey dead and then pardon himself for it, and nobody could do anything about it, and that would be the right thing to do in our law, right? And that's not how our laws here work. So that got people talking, and then today Trump himself tweeted out that he is alone. Let me find it here. It's better to read his direct words, right? They're all over the internet. Whoops. I digress, right? So he said he basically just came out. I'm not going to look for the thing. He came out right out and tweeted today that he absolutely has 100% can pardon himself, and that once again he's being prosecuted and yada yada yada. But basically, he's now saying he's above the law. So it started on Thursday. So it was moving really quickly. On Thursday, there was no, there was this 20-page memo that was not written in legalese. It wasn't written for another lawyer. It wasn't written for Mueller to read. There was no case citations, yada yada. It was something that was designed to be leaked out so the public could get used to the information. And by the way, it absolutely, in no unsure terms, it absolutely says that the president dictated the memo on Air Force One that it was in regard to the meeting that was, he said about adoptions. And so in this thing, that right there is obstruction. And it's, so in this thing right here, they admitted, Trump's own group admitted this, that they are, that they did it. I'm sorry, I don't know. I can't give information on Prop A, and I don't like telling people how to vote either way. I like to give information, but telling people, this is part of the problem is with our politics right now is that there is a political party. I'm not a member of either party, by the way, but there's a political party, the Republican Party, who has gone for the last 40 years almost, but over the last 20 especially, has gone in this direction where it's their way or the highway, and everybody else is evil and out to get them. And everybody else is out here going, wait, come on, we can play nice together. So you run into people, one side that's being all mushy and trying to get along, and the other side that's not. And it's just the way that the stupid two-party system has ended up working. So Trump says he's above the law. He says he can, and this is the big part. It's not about Trump being above the law. It's the fact that nobody's saying anything. Nobody is saying anything. None of the GOP, none of the Republican Congress people are saying anything. They're all pretending like this is normal. That the president says he's above the law and can pardon himself and anyone else and can run, Okay, so that's number two. And the third thing is Pruitt. The EPA Secretary, Scott Pruitt, is again in hot water for wasting money. And this time, just a few days ago, he got caught wasting $1,200 on a dozen pens, ink writing pens. And then the person that he sent out to get those pens had to answer some questions to Congress, etc. And it came out that he sent her, this is the woman, I believe it's a woman. I hate to assume that. This is the aide who found him the place, the $50 a night rental place that happened to belong to a lobbyist's husband, lobbyist's husband. And the lobbyist was working on, is an oil executive, and was working on right then actively pitching something to Scott Pruitt, and he was living his place for $50 a night. And which is in DC in Georgetown, Aurora, is like it's $600 a night. Anyway, so this aide was tasked with finding him and his wife a place to live. That has nothing to do with this person's job. With what else was it? Finding a place to live. The real weird thing is is going out and getting a used mattress from Trump Hotel. Really, this is a real thing. So this woman, again, I said woman, and I don't know. I probably subconsciously read the name. I can't think of what it is. But this assistant, this aide, who, by the way, I was looking at the salaries. I think the lowest paid aide there is $100 and something thousand. And their job was not to go out and find him an apartment, a place to live. Oh, by the way, she found them a place. This person found them a place to live. And they moved in, and they didn't like the neighborhood, so they moved out. So there's that. But at some point, near recently, Pruitt sent her out for a used mattress from Trump Hotel. What? So that's just nuts. I got about 2 minutes to spend on Scott Pruitt, by the way, and his bizarreness. This guy, okay, let me go back to 1970 was the first year that we had, was the year the EPA was formed. And that's because it's also the year that the first Earth Day happened in Los Angeles. It wasn't the Coliseum, it was, I can't remember the venue, but I was there. Mom was a hippie, right? So I was at the first Earth Day in Los Angeles in 1970. The EPA was formed in 1970 because of all the pressure that had been put on by the hippies and everybody else who wanted smog protection. Back then, we had smog days at school. When I was going to school, there were days where they said no school today because the smog's too bad. You have to stay inside. Like snow back east, but it doesn't like kill you if you go outside unless you stay in it for a long time or whatever. But so what's up with that? I don't know. I should have put this in the thing if anyone has any specific questions. I know that